Hello to all of you parents today. My name is Jacinda Scott, parenting educator with CFS Saskatoon, and I'm here today to talk to you about parenting and homeschooling during the pandemic. As we all know, the pandemic situation has really changed and shifted the way we live and work as parents. We now have our kids home full-time, with some of us working from home full-time, and trying to fit in online schooling as well as our regular household duties, cooking and cleaning, and then working to fit in some physical activity and even some downtime for everybody. And on top of that, we have less real life social interaction than ever before, and we are spending the majority of our time in our own little family sphere. It's very challenging, but also a very interesting time. So in order to feel balanced and not overstressed through all of this, it's important that we ask ourselves right now, what is in my control during COVID-19 and what is not in my control? So what is our thoughts, our feelings about it, how we care for ourselves and our families, how we choose to spend our time together. And what's not in our control is the virus itself and what other people are choosing to do at this time, and what other people's reactions, emotions, and opinions are. So we really need to focus on what we can control and let go of what we cannot. It's also helpful to reframe our perspective of the current reality. So in all situations, there is a negative and a positive. And of course, if we focus on the positive and change our language around it, it helps us to feel a lot calmer and more in control. And what we decide to focus on as parents directly affects what our children focus on. And what we focus on directly affects the mood in the household. So if we are negative, who wants to be in that household? I wouldn't. We can also take time to focus on the helpers to reframe. So many people are doing so many great things right now. There are many good news stories and videos out there showing all of the ways that people are helping and creating beauty and connection in the world with each other. A really good site to check out for these positive stories is goodnewsnetwork.org. It's one of my favorites. So what are some of the positives right now? Well, we have this gift of presence. We're able to live more day to day and more in the moment. Time has slowed down in a sense. We really have time to connect and be present with each other. And we now have space for creative endeavors, for helping our kids to learn important life skills and domestic skills. We have time for family dinners. We aren't running from activity to this social obligation, to that event, eating on the run in our cars. We have more control over spending our time the way we want to. We get to spend time with our families the way we want to. And now is the time where we really have the opportunity to discover new things about our kids and ourselves, like seeing how they learn and what inspires them. We can also be more flexible with our time right now. We need to really embrace this flexibility, and I think we're actually getting a lot better at this as we're 2 months into the pandemic situation. Flexibility allows us to make room for imagination and creativity. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm celebrating less clock watching. So for many of us, if not all of us, we are at home more. We have become homeschoolers. The challenge with this is we are parents, not teachers. And we didn't go to school and spend 4 years getting a degree to teach. And most of our kids have never done online school. It's tough enough for some kids to sustain attention at school in a classroom all day, and now we're asking them to sustain it online, over a screen, with the help of a floundering tutor, us. The teachers are also working hard to accommodate learning, but they're having a tough time as well. So we all need to just give ourselves a break. I'm going to give you some positive homeschool strategies today. So number one, just focus on the day at hand. Take it day by day. Ask yourself, what do we have here to do at home? How can I engage the kids today? How can we spend quality time bonding and have some space for ourselves? How can we have a little bit of structure around learning and duties? And it will look a little bit different every day, and that's okay. Number 2, focus on technology. Let them on it more than ever. Phoning, texting, video chatting with family and friends, self-directed learning. Now kids have more control over their learning, what they want to learn about, what they're passionate about. And we can also look at video games as learning and movies and TV shows as learning. Teens have the opportunity now to set up virtual hangouts and maybe real-time hangouts. And we need to remember to limit the news exposure for our kids, especially little ones, due to the negative and worrisome feelings they can develop. And instead, if we check the facts as parents and then have conversations about it with our families, that's great. Number 3, learning from the homeschoolers. Have you noticed all of the families outside together doing yard work, planting gardens, building fences? It is so great to see. And all of these are opportunities for learning domestic skills or life skills that they need to be able to maintain a home and contribute to the household when they become adults and parents. And they're also really excellent developmental skills as well. These kind of skills actually help build the executive function part of the brain. Even things like cooking and cleaning and organizing and doing these outside projects. Just remember, keep it light and playful. My daughter discovered a new love for gardening. She helped me design and lay out our front perennial garden. She came shopping for plants and helped to plant them the next day. And then early in the morning, she was out watering all the plants. She just loved that she created it and helped create it, and she found it really rewarding. Getting out in nature is a science lesson. Nature provides experiential learning. Walking somewhere, collecting leaves, rocks, pine cones, looking at bugs, listening to the birds, trying to identify what you find, taking pictures. And nature study is also really therapeutic. So we slow down in nature to observe our surroundings and we engage all of our senses. And in this way, nature is very regulating to our nervous systems. Also, by going outside, we stay physically active and mentally and emotionally well because we're getting plenty of sunshine, plenty of vitamin D and fresh air. And all of this helps us to sleep better too. Number 4, simple structure. Kids need structure to feel safe and secure and to know what's coming next. However, we don't need to overdo it or be hard on ourselves or each other. Schooling at home is a lot to take on and has been with very short notice, and we're all really new at this. Include in your daily routine simple things like sleep, meals, hygiene, chores, learning, free time. And we can structure the day around meals and sleep. So for an example, say after breakfast, we make our beds, we unload the dishwasher. Then we shower, brush our teeth, and get dressed. After lunch, maybe we do an hour of schoolwork. And after supper, we can go for a walk or a bike ride. Bedtime might be at 10 p.m. And everything else between is free play, creative time, screen time, and downtime. And you know what? For teens, they need a lot of sleep right now. Let them sleep in and start the schedule later, after brunch or after lunch. As a family, you're going to, if you haven't already, establish a rhythm, an ebb and a flow, a pattern of some kind. So now you might be asking, well, how much time should my kids spend on learning? Under the age of 6, really any learning is good. Nature learning, great. Lots of physical activity and unstructured play, both with themselves, with their siblings, and with parents when the time allows. Age 6 to 12 years, the elementary school years, an hour is good. Self-directed learning is a good option, especially at this point as we move into June. Encourage virtual socializing, outside time, maybe in-person socializing, physical activity, creative projects. Let them choose when is the best time for learning as well. So some kids it's after breakfast and some it's after lunch. Age 12 and over, really give them responsibility for their own learning and let them do a lot of self-directed learning right now. This is such a good opportunity for self-directed learning. And as they get older, they may find that the evening is their most productive time, and that's great. Self-directed learning promotes motivation and planning and goal setting. It's really great skill building. Also with learning, the world is our oyster right now, so we can do anything we want, right? We can learn about movie making or music making, do genealogy searches, cake decorating, learning about our favorite animal. My daughter right now is really into interior design and learning more about it. And don't worry right now if kids are losing interest. It's June, and this is the time when teachers would be planning field trips and year-end events. And so it's okay if they're really sort of shifting out of learning. And you know what? Kids will catch up when they're exposed to the material later. I've talked to a couple of teacher friends of mine, and they're already planning to do a lot of review in the fall due to the loss of time in learning with the pandemic. Tip number 4, I want to talk a little bit about unstructured play and how important it is. Deborah McNamara, a certified counselor, developmentalist, and author, talks about the importance of unstructured play in her article called True Play: Why Kids Need Play Sanctuaries for Their Emotions. Deborah says play is critical to a child's overall development. It's like oxygen. Play gives kids space to master life skills. It also fosters problem solving and creativity. And play helps them form a sense of identity and self-agency as well. Before the pandemic, play was often pushed aside, right, for structured activities or screen time. But now with organized sports and activities on hold, kids are actually getting more unstructured playtime. Play also serves emotion by allowing the child to safely examine an emotion and to experiment with words and actions that go with it. And when a child, for example, expresses frustration in play, they actually come to know it better in themselves. So what exactly is unstructured play? It's the kind of play that doesn't focus on outcomes or on task mastery. It is free, it's creative, and it is exploratory. Activities like playing house, playing school, playing dinosaurs or with cars, playing in the sand, climbing trees, playing hide and go seek. And for teens, unstructured play might look like walking and biking and exploring their city, or going driving around the city, or even out in the country, and taking photographs and videos, selfies. All right, so to end, just a couple of reminders to leave you with. We are role models as parents, so how are we handling our stress levels during this time? What are we doing for self-care? Our kids are always watching us and learning from us. And remember, have fun. Let them play their video games, do TikToks with them, have water balloon fights with them, do a whole day of baking together. I also want to recommend through this pandemic situation to try implementing a daily gratitude practice with your family. So maybe doing it every day at the dinner table or when saying goodnight to each other, and just asking, what are 3 things you are grateful for today? This simple practice promotes positivity and rewires our brains to the positive. Okay, thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed today's video and found some gems in here. Parents, families, stay safe out there. You are doing great.